Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at what we're supposed to do once we get out of Plato's cave. Well, the answer is obvious. Anyone who comes out of Plato's cave and understands what's going on and has family and friends back in the cave, the only thing to do is to go back into the cave and help everyone else come out of the cave. And that means we continue on the hero's journey and we share this message. Keep it in mind when you go back down into Plato's cave and you try to get people to look into the mirror or look into the fire behind them to become enlightened. They scream at you and yell at you and say, "What are you doing to me? You're hurting my eyes. It hurts for me to look into the fire. It hurts to admit that I'm my own enemy. What's wrong with you?" So when you go back down into Plato's cave, it's very disheartening because most people think you're crazy. Why would you want to look into the fire? Because it's how we get out of this cave of ignorance. And as long as the vast majority of us are in this cave, there's nothing else for us to do but to spend our life helping people escape Plato's cave. That's the only meaning in life. Meaning in life depends upon where we are. And right now we're in a cave of ignorance where people are suffering needlessly. There's a simple solution to solve these problems. Most people don't have the knowledge. That's why it's a cave of ignorance. That's why we got to keep going back down and find those who have the ears to hear. That's the first stage on the hero's journey. The first stage to get out of Plato's cave is you have the ears to hear. The second stage on the hero's journey is, do you test an idea as time has come? Do you prove to yourself that what we're saying is true? Come out of the cave so you can see what's going on. And then remember, just getting out of the cave is only half of it. Once we get out of the cave, then we got to go on to paradise. Meaning that we got to make these five main corrections permanent. Remember, a solid food vacation corrects 5 main mistakes on a temporary basis, just so we can see what we're missing. So once we come out of the cave, we want to continue on toward paradise, which is simply a place where we don't have problems within our control. And how do we do that? We satisfy all of our needs. And when we look at the ways we're not doing that, the biggest ones has to do with our food, our diet. That's why a solid food vacation addresses those big 5 main mistakes and helps us get out of this cave of ignorance. So it's like there's 2 maps in one, if you look at my special teaching tool. The bottom part is to help us get out of Plato's cave, find the knowledge we need and apply it. End up in paradise, where you don't have problems that are within your control. And then once you do that, you keep going back down into Plato's cave. And you help people find their way out of the cave. You give them the instructions they need, which is simply a solid food vacation so they can see what they're missing. Get a glimpse of what it looks like outside the cave. So yes, what do we do once we come out of the cave? It's what everyone does. You go back down into the cave and you help as many people get out of the cave, because as long as anyone's in the cave, we'll all suffer. No man is an island. The individual cannot escape the collective. You cannot escape Plato's cave as long as the vast majority of people are in it. So once you come out, what do? You stay on the hero's journey. You keep trying to help people wake up to this. And we go for the tipping point. So once you come out of Plato's cave, what you do as a trim tab is you play your role and get us to the tipping point. Because things will never change unless we reach the tipping point. So pretty much everything we do is a waste of time unless we can finally get enough of us to get everyone's attention. So that's the goal for trim tabs, is to help us reach the tipping point. There are 3 waves of heroes on the hero's journey. The first wave are the trim tabs. We're the rudder on the rudder trying to steer our ship away from this iceberg. The tipping point itself will be the rudder. So the trim tabs are the rudder on the rudder. This is where we're going to get the tipping point. Once we reach the tipping point, then we can change the rudder itself. That will be the second wave of heroes. That's when everyone else jumps on board. The third wave of heroes will be when everyone else completes the connection. And they're going to want to do that at that point, and we'll make it very easy for it to happen. But in the beginning, you guys are the trim tabs. Our job is to help us reach the tipping point, because things will never change unless we reach the tipping point. So Once we come out of the cave, go back down day after day, spread this knowledge, tell people that God, I have got hundreds, it seems like, mosquito hawks all over me right now. But we gotta get excited about this and be as tenacious as these little guys are. If you could see how many little things are tickling me all over right now, you'd be amazed. Quite a distraction. And there are going to be distractions on the hero's journey. My God, there's so many out here. But don't let that bring you down. Remember, it's not easy to go back down in Plato's cave. It's not easy to tell people they got to take this red pill. They got to stop making mistakes. They got to be the best that they can be. People don't want to do that. It's scary. Fear is a big motivator. But we can overcome that fear simply by testing that idea as time is coming. You know, my friends, what happens when we do that. We're in for a treat.